Hi, welcome to SF Zine Fest Cyberfest group of exhibitors doing their show and tells today. We are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and we have all the exhibitors ready to show their work and talk about their process in our Zoom call. You can visit us at sfzinefest.org for more details about the upcoming schedule of events, which will be going through September 26th. Today's show and tell is with Group E, so we have 10 exhibitors. And this is how it'll go. We'll do a quick intro, some house rules and expectations so that we're all on the same page. The exhibitors only will go into some breakout rooms here within Zoom, while I'll be showing some zines from my own collection of stuff I've bought at past SF Zine Fest. And then each exhibitor will present their work for 4 minutes. And we'll have about 5 minutes taking questions, including questions from the live stream chat. So if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can type your questions and comments in the chat. And then a quick closing. The San Francisco Zine Fest, here's a little background about us. We were founded in 2001 as a gathering place for writers and artists from around the world, but especially the Bay Area. And Zine Fest is typically held as a one-day event at the County Fair building in Golden Gate Park. And our 2019 festival had about 240 exhibitors and more than 5,000 attendees. But of course, due to COVID-19, our 2020 festival is entirely online. And Cyberfest, as we're calling it, is from September 6th through September 26th. So we have 3 guests of honor, each taking the lead on 1 full week of programming. We also have exhibitor show and tells pretty much every day, and zine readings, workshops, demos, interviews, and Q&As with the guests of honor. Our 3 guests of honor, just finishing up week 1, is Alex L. Combs, whose work you can also check out on our website. And you can see work by all of them in our web store. This week, we're starting out with events featuring guest of honor Death Peace Sun. And in week 3, we have Tana Tucker. Very important that I go over the Safer Spaces policy. This is something that we require all exhibitors and volunteers to abide by. We are committed to providing a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of gender, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, body size, race, or religion. We will not tolerate harassment at SFZF events in any form. Individuals violating the Safer Spaces policy may be sanctioned or expelled from the space or the event, including online events, at the discretion of any SF Zine Fest organizer. Key points about this are that we need to respect people's opinions, beliefs, differing states of being, and differing points of view. Always get explicit verbal consent before taking someone's photo or crossing other personal boundaries, which includes screenshots. If you do want to take a screenshot, please let us know in the chat. Or better yet, contact that zine maker directly on social media or on their website and ask for permission there. We also require that everyone be responsible for your actions and aware that your actions may have an effect on others regardless of your original intent. And we consider a safe and respectful community to be everyone's responsibility. So guidelines for Zoom. Please keep your video off unless you're presenting, which will help keep the video quality good for everybody. And also keep yourself on mute to keep the audio good for everyone. If you have a question, ask in the Zoom chat or in the live stream chats. We have chat moderators there. All the artists will have 4 minutes to share their work, and you can use it however you like, show whatever you'd like, just so you know that it's going to be public. Also, you can compliment each other in the chat or just say hi. And please, this is important. We are trying to keep Zine Fest as accessible as possible, so please be mindful for folks who are blind or visually impaired. the exhibitors are going to go into some breakout rooms. And to the exhibitors, you're going to get a pop-up on your screen where you can join the breakout room. And that's your chance to just have a few minutes to say hi and connect with other zine creators and feel like you get to hang out as much as we can online. And a suggested prompt that you can talk about if you want is, what's one thing you do to calm your nerves before a presentation? So now you'll all be going into your breakout rooms, and I'm going to take this time to show you a little bit of some of the zines I've gotten at past SF Zine Fests. First of all, we always have a guest of honor. This year we have 3. And one of our guests of honor in the past was Trinidad Escobar, who made this really awesome poster that you can see right here. We still have some for sale from past years. And we also last year made a tote bag. So the art is by Lawrence Lindell, who was our awesome guest of honor in 2019. And then here's where I keep some of my zines. I try not to accumulate too many zines, but that's very hard. Here's one that I remember buying maybe 4 years ago when I was a volunteer at Zine Fest. And it's called Reflect Magazine, issue 12. It's really beautifully bound with glossy paper, and it is like a mixture of fashion and photography. So there's a pink title and a fashion shoot in front of some scenery. And it says thumbs up. More fashion. I also remember there being some highlights of just people. And this one is made. You can find out more at www.reflectmag.com. That was a cool one. I also just found a sticker from one of my co-organizers, Avi, who makes Nothing Good Happens at 4 a.m., which is a horror comic, which is really illustrated beautifully. Let's see. I'm not sure where I got this one, but it's an exploration of aphrodisiacs, like herbal aphrodisiacs. Cover's super cool. It's like a semi-gloss. It's made by Homestead Apothecary, which I believe is based in Oakland. And it's just a reference guide of different things that you can use as aphrodisiacs if you want to get nasty. So, you know. What's some other stuff? I also really like these all these little mini ones, all the tiny stuff. This one happened at a zine workshop that I was teaching at Oakland Pedal Fest back when we could have in-person events. And someone came just to volunteer at our booth where we were teaching people how to make these one-page zines. We also just recently published a guide to making one-page zines on our Facebook, so you can download it and print it. It's good for kids. So this is one that this person made there. And then they also brought a zine called Pop that they had made previously and published on their own. Of course they published it on their own. It's a zine, and it's all about someone's eyeball mysteriously popping out. So here's some somewhat graphic. For anyone who's just coming back from the breakout rooms, I'm just showing a selection of zines that I've collected from SF Zine Fest over the years. Hey everyone, ready to get started? Okay, it looks like almost everybody is back. 1, 2. All right, all 10 of you are back. So I will introduce myself. I'm Michaela Payne, and I've been an organizer of SF Zine Fest for the past 3 years. This year I'm managing the volunteers and also the social media and promotion. which is, turns out it's a lot to create an online festival out of thin air. So we are all doing what we can. And I'm just so happy that it's going great. People are showing up. People are able to still connect online. So I hope that the breakout rooms gave you a little taste of what it would have been like in person. Obviously a lot different. I make zines, but I haven't published any. And mostly I do digital art and journalism, writing or editing for people. So still in the world, definitely a huge contributor to the community, but scared to publish my own. All right, so now we're going to be jumping back into the presentations. So I'm going to share my screen again. Please forgive any little delays. So first, let's just go over what to do and what to say when you're presenting. Please tell us your name and pronouns, or you can use just the name that you publish under. And tell us if you're based in the Bay Area or wherever you are now. Tell us a little about yourself, maybe when you started making zines, and then show us your work. We really want to see your work. So you can do a screen share or you can hold things up to the screen. But please be aware that holding things up to the screen does not work well if you have a Zoom background. So turn off your background, and also keep in mind that we're being as accessible as possible for folks who are blind or visually impaired. So if you're showing a page, please also try to describe it like this is a line drawing. This is the presenting order. We're going to go in alphabetical order. If for some reason I accidentally skip you, please, please, please speak up. That happened yesterday. All my fault. So first we have Anna Jo, and I will not be showing slides for everybody because I want you to show your own work. But if for some reason you want a little extra, then you can go ahead. So first, we have Jo Beck.
Hello, everybody. That was such a cute slide. Oh my God. My name is Jo Beck. You can call me Anna. I use she, her pronouns. I am from Chicago, Illinois, but I've been to San Francisco Zine Fest one time, I think 2016. And it was super fun, and I'm super excited to be back. I'm actually an organizer for Chicago Zine Fest. So I totally understand the struggle of trying to do an online Zine Fest when you're used to doing a big in-person thing. So that's a little bit about me. Let's see, let's talk about my zines. So I do a series called Biff Boff Bam Sock, and they're all kind of how-to zines as far as the genre. And each one is a different subject. So I have one that is personal finance, and it's just like a 20-page overview of like checking accounts, savings accounts, budgeting, a very brief introduction to investing. Just kind of all my zines are basically what I wish I had had when I started reading about these subjects. Next one is Hoja de Trampas, which is a Spanish grammar guide. So it's kind of like the appendix of a Spanish grammar textbook. So it's a lot of just kind of the cliff notes of the language. I have For Your Health, which is a guide on how to shop for health insurance in America. And it's, you know, just a lot of text, but I also include these little breakouts that are like cute stories about like cats and mice being friends to add some levity to a very unpleasant subject. And then the most recent one in that series is Know Your Vote, which is a workbook about voting. So it's, you know, you start out with the you know, your federal executive branch and who your current representation is there, but then you kind of go down there to state and local level. And it has, who they are and what they do. And also, spaces for reflecting on your own beliefs and understanding how that works with your representatives. And then I have a bunch of little tiny guys. So habit tracking, it's kind of like the practice of having a piece of graph paper to check off each day if you, drink 8 cups of water, or if you read something off of a screen or not. So it's just a little mini of how to do it and a template on the inside. This one is Don't Panic, a how-to guide on step-by-step of changing a bike tire if you get a flat. So it starts out with breathe. You appear to have a flat. That sucks, but it will be okay. Because once you get a flat, you're all frazzled and you might forget all the steps of doing the tire change. Or at least I did. So I found it helpful for me. This one's like a complete joke that I made for a party, but I have so many left over. It's the things that I could have bought with my student loan debt. I paid off all my student loans, and I have some things that you could have bought with the amount, like the party barge, which is a pontoon boat. And then I have a new series that I started this year called Mini Movie Marathon. And they're just mini zines that are write-ups of movies, kind of on a centralized theme. So the first one is Bong Joon-ho, the director of Parasite. He directs, he writes, he does all sorts of stuff, but I just wrote up the movies that he's directed. And then if you open it up, you have Bong Joon-ho Tic-Tac-Toe. So common themes or director tricks that he uses, like class struggle and fumigation. So if you see these in multiple movies, you can get a tic-tac-toe. And then the second in that series is Drag 201. I am into drag queens as a cultural phenomenon. And there's movies like, Tu Won Fu and Paris is Burning, kind of your entry point movies to drag. And I wanted to go a little bit deeper. So they're write-ups on movies that maybe you haven't seen if you're into the drag scene.
That's great. I believe this is your time. Thank you so much for showing us all these. You have so much work, and I'm really excited to see everybody's. All right, so next we will have Awkward Ladies. And I'm just going to share, I'm going to do my best to just share the little social media post for everybody. So here you can see what you also can go find. You're all tagged on Instagram. All right, take it away.
I love that photo because I look as awkward as I feel in that. My name is Amy Burek, and I've been publishing under the name Awkward Ladies Club since 2012. I'm based in the Bay Area. I live in Alameda, so close to Oakland, and I used to help organize San Francisco Zine Fest a few years ago. I think it was 2015 was the year where I was heavily involved. So I have a increased appreciation for how much work it takes to put together an event like this. And so thank you for having me again. I have a couple things with me. If I sound nervous, it's because I am. And when we were in the breakout session, I realized that my strategy for overcoming stage fright is just avoidance. Try not to show up at all. So I'll probably be quick. Let's see. So the first zine I ever made, this one called Never Date Dudes from the Internet. And I found a folder in an old email account where I had sent all the responses I had gotten to a Craigslist ad that I had posted in 2005, which I hadn't realized I still had access to. And I went through reading all the responses again and realized that it was much funnier then than when the emails first arrived. So the book has every response that I got to the ad in chronological order. And I don't know if there's much more to explain than that. But this kind of set off a trend for me of, I've made books since then that are collections of digital ephemera or pieces of the internet. And after my son was born in 2017, I was spending a lot of time on pregnancy and baby websites. So I made a book a few years ago called Is This Normal? And the search for pregnancy and parenting advice on the internet. And I made this book because I had been saving what I thought were funny posts that I was finding on Reddit and Baby Center. And I eventually saw this trend emerge where so many of these posts started with the phrase, "Is this normal?" And realizing that you spend your whole life trying to be yourself and be unique, and then your child's born and all you want is your kid to be normal. And there's this real fear that something's going wrong. And it's really all out there on display now that we can easily Google problems. The thing I realized when I was making this book, I realized that one day my son was about 6 months old, and he started doing this thing where he would stick out his tongue like a snake, like just a little bit over and over again. And I went on to Google and I typed in without thinking, 6-month-old sticking out tongue, is this normal? And I hit enter and I realized I'd become the person that I had been mocking privately. So this is kind of a admission also of being part of this environment. Let's see.
I love it. Would you like to hold up one page? You have a few seconds left. If you just want to show us like a.
Let's see. I'll read one entry from Reddit that says, "My best friend put her ear up to my stomach and said she heard a bunch of fluid moving around. Could that be the baby moving around in the amniotic fluid, or could it just be my regular stomach movements? I'm 23 weeks pregnant, by the way, if that matters." So it's really little bits like that.
I love it. Okay, everybody can find links over in the chat, and then also go to Instagram. And thank you so much for presenting.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Dead in Hollywood Zine. And
hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Castro Berger, and I'm based in Hollywood. I attended the San Francisco Zine Fest in 2018, and it was such an amazing experience. The whole weekend was just so magical, and I miss it, and I can't wait, hopefully, to go back next year. So, Dead in Hollywood is a true crime fanzine of strange and scandalous Hollywood deaths. Ever since I was a kid, for some reason, I've been fascinated with the dark side of Hollywood. I started working on Dead in Hollywood about 3 years ago after this really bad meeting I had on a script that I had spent 4 years working on. And I was really depressed, I was really down, and there was just no creative outlet for me in sight. And after the meeting, I don't know how many of you are familiar with LA, but I drove from the studio to the Forest Lawn Cemetery, and I just cried my eyes out in front of Carrie Fisher's grave. And it was there that I was reminded of Meryl Streep quoting Carrie Fisher at the Golden Globes, "Take your broken heart, make it into art." So 3 years later and 20 issues later, here I am. And as dark as the title suggests, I spend a lot of the zines focused on the on the contributions that these celebrities left behind. Like, most people don't know that Sal Mineo was the first gay teenager in a mainstream Hollywood movie, or that Dorothy Dandridge was the first Black actress to be nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars.
Can you hold it a little bit closer so we can see those nice covers?
Yeah.
Cool, perfect.
This is Dorothy Dandridge right here. the first Black actress to be nominated for Academy Award for Best Actress. And then Sal Mineo is the one that started it all for me. I had the biggest crush on Sal Mineo when I saw Rebel Without a Cause, and he started the whole Dead in Hollywood for me. And then Sharon Tate, one of my more popular issues. She, a lot of people don't know this, but her death led to victim impact statements that family members can read at parole hearings. And that wasn't possible before Sharon Tate. Sometimes I think we as a society tend to want to forget these really horrible, awful, and sad deaths. And I think we do a disservice to those memories. And I really had that epiphany after my mom died, and she was worried on her deathbed that she'd be forgotten. And I spent the next 5 years after her death not talking about her, or, you know, just kind of ignoring that she had died. And that's when I realized, you know, I was doing a disservice to her memory. And that was a big inspiration for me in starting Dead in Hollywood. And I'm usually working on about 4 or 5 issues at once, and each issue takes about a month to complete. And I will say the pandemic has really cleared my schedule, and I've been able to create more zines now than I ever have. And who knew a 9-to-5 job would be so stifling creatively? I'm working on a number of upcoming issues at the moment. The Crucifixion of George Michael, Florence Lawrence, the first movie star, Thelma Todd, the science screen star, who's also known as the Ice Cream Blonde. Her story is fascinating. And I'm finishing my 20th issue called Behind the Sign, and it covers 20 scandalous, weird Hollywood deaths. So that's me, Dead in Hollywood.
Awesome. You have about 30 more seconds if you'd like to show a couple more covers or anything for Nancy.
Here's my Natalie Wood issue, and I'll show you what I do. I do a lot of writing and a lot of collages. I use Pages on my Mac to do all these. I kind of like the limitations. It kind of pushes me creatively. I can't say that word today. Let's see what else. Let me find a really good page. And then I went out to Catalina where Natalie Wood died, and I retraced her last steps. And these are all the photos from my trip there and the people I met while I was out there. And yeah, it's just really fun. Nobody can tell me no, which is really great.
That's your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you can find all the links over in the, not in the chat here, but rest assured we are posting them in the live stream chats. So I'll just quickly share the stuff we posted on Instagram for you, and then we'll move on to the next one, which is Deconstructed Artichoke. We are ready for you.
It says I can't start the video because you can't start your video because the host has stopped it. Okay.
Give me a second.
Okay. All right. Hi. I'm Nikki Thompson of Deconstructed Artichoke Press. I've had the press for quite some time. I think I started in 2002 when I was in grad school at CCAC, California College of Arts and Crafts. Well, the crafts has been dropped, but yeah. So my pronouns are she, her, and I live in Sacramento now, but I am a definite resident of San Francisco. I lived there for many, many, many years, and I loved doing Zine Fest. It was one of my favorite events. So what I've been doing is making zines, and I make little zines that are, I'm a book artist also, so I make some book arts, but my zines are, they're based on structures that Haiti Kyle, a famous book artist, and they're made out of a single sheet of paper. So, so this is made out of a sheet of paper. And so I made this zine because I miss San Francisco. I miss Bernal Heights, where I lived most of the time while I was in San Francisco. So there's a picture of Bernal Heights on the front. And there it is. So I have a Patreon page under Deconstructed Artichoke Press. And I sell zines on that page for $3, but I also sell them on my website. But you have to, it's a secret page, so it's not linked to the, website. So you go up to the green on top and it says, go to my secret page, because I thought that would be fun. I did this one, this particular zine, I did as a reaction to the ghost ship fire in Oakland. And I compared it to the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory back in the day. And I wanted to look at unions and our current housing issue. So, and then I did this one, the pill versus the pocket rocket, because I wanted to say women's rights are important and it makes a lot of sense for the pill to be covered by insurance.
Can you hold it a little closer to the screen so we can really see it? Yeah, cool. Up a little. Cool. Thanks.
All right. And so I do little zines too that are made out of paper, that are made out of one sheet of paper. But I love the folds. I love the folds and I love cutting them. I'm a school teacher by day, and I hate the way the textbooks are so whitewashed, so I made this one. And they're pretty, most of them aren't too text intensive, but this is the life of a lithographer. Again, it's made out of a single sheet of paper. And then I have some bookbinder buttons here. Whoops. And they're very punny. If
That
you know
is your time, so people will have to see them on the website.
Okay.
Thank you so much. A lot of compliments on your folding techniques over here in the chat. Awesome.
All right.
For being here. All right, so next we have Gemini Rising and Supertrooper. Are you here with us, Gemini Rising and Supertrooper? While we wait, I'll go ahead and share what we posted about you folks on Instagram. Also from the Bay Area, we have a couple photos of your cool black and white zines, and Gemini Rising and Supertrooper are in Oakland. I'm not sure if that's the names of your zines or the names of you too, but love it either way. And you write about the changing landscapes in the East Bay, traveling, heartbreak, gentrification, astrology, friendships, scamming, poetry, personal stories, getting in touch with your past, present, and futures. And people can find you on Blurb, on Instagram at Dear Diary Zine Fest, on Venmo, and on PayPal. So check out our Instagram for more All right. We're going to move on to the next. If you are here, then please speak up. Send me a message in the chat and we'll make sure you have your time. So next we're going to go to Gutwrench Press. Hi.
Hi. So hi, my name is Hope. I use she, her pronouns. I'm in Portland, Oregon. I print under Gutwrench Press. I'm a letterpress printer. I also have a few zines that I sell through like a mini distro. I was traveling and going to a lot of different zine fests for a while. And I moved to Portland kind of with that plan. And then I moved to Portland in March and haven't left. So I have a few of the zines that I have. There are other people's here. I also do, I do a few different zines. I do a zine called Where Are You From? Which is about homes and hometowns. I have a few issues where people write in and tell me stories about their hometowns. This is my favorite one, which is out of stock, but I do like it. About moving back to Louisiana. I've moved back and forth from New Orleans and Baton Rouge a few times to the West Coast and then back. I want to start a new one about moving here during the pandemic, but I think I keep waiting for the part where I can have some space from it and look back and things just keep getting crazier. So maybe I'll make that zine in 5 or 10 years. I also do a zine called Eulalia, which is this format. I'm not a comic artist, but I really like this format of little squares. So I write really text-heavy zines usually. So I was trying to limit myself. I would just draw a square on every page and then fill them in. And I started doing a lot of collage work in the past few years. So this is the most recent Eulalia number 3. It's a do-si-do binding. So there we go. So one side is called If I Could Tell Myself Something Now. And the other side is Big Love, Be Blessed. And so the one side is part 1 is kind of the before. It's all in black and white, a lot of ink drawings. And then the second side is collages that I did. So I made these all this size and then just digitally printed them. I was working at a place that had a color printer, so I could print it for kind of cheap, which was nice. That's my favorite one right now. I also do a project called the Keep Writing Project, where I print a letterpress postcard every month. I've been doing it since 2008. I'm about to print number 137 tomorrow. But every month I print this postcard. This is last month's. Oops, this is last month's. So it comes folded like this and taped in the mail, and then it has this part for you to keep down here. And then the top has a little story explaining why I chose this bottom text, and it has a question relating to it. So I was listening to a lot of, a book and some interviews with Ocean Vuong, and got this really beautiful quote about the future. Was thinking about that and being in quarantine. And so I asked people what gift do you want to share with the future? And I already got a few back. Let's see if I can find one of them. So people mail me back. So this was, sorry, the back page of it, I just wrote, what do you want to share with the future? And then you tear it off and mail it back with a little drawing or words. I think this is from Art News in Berkeley, who does the Zine Care Bloom. We do trade subscriptions. So that is all my work. You can find me at Gutwrench Press. And on there's all the information about all of those things. And if you have a subscription mail project, I really like trading if that's something you do. That's all. Thanks for having me here.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here. It sounds like people in the chat are pretty inspired. People are inspired by the post option. I love it. Okay, we are going to move on to the next one.
Actually, Michaela, if you can just go back, Gemini Rising just joined us.
Awesome. Okay, great.
Thank you.
We are going to move on to the last one, as in the previous. And I will just share the post that we made about you, and then you can take over. So Gemini Rising and Supertrooper, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Go.
You're look at the sun. Wait, come in. Just start. Start. Come on. Don't be a slow poke.
So Gemini Rising and Supertrooper.
Wait. More light.
You're great. We see you, and we are ready for you to show off your zines.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm Vanessa. I go by she, her.
I'm Angela. It's Supertrooper. Can't see a lot of light here, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of dark. Okay.
Okay.
This is my Gemini Rising. I released it last year at SF Zine Fest. So this was the first issue. And this is about like the Bay Area music scene and
Keep going. Keep going.
Shut up. This is about the Bay Area music scene and just a lot of changes going on in Oakland.
We're keep going.
Since then, I've released Gemini Rising 2 and 3. Number 3 is by Angela. The cover. Amazing. I also have this vacation zine. It's about a road trip to New Mexico. I have this autobiography zine. What was it like growing up in the Bay?
What was it like growing up in the Bay, Vanessa?
It was pretty good.
Okay.
And then I have this new zine with my friend Holly called Makeup.
What's it about?
It's about conflict at a zine fest that we threw.
What was the name of that zine fest, Vanessa?
It's called Dear Diary Zine Fest.
What's the name of it again? What is it?
I'm an organizer at
Dear Diary Zine Fest. That sounds great. Hi.
Anyway, you can buy all of my zines for $20 together. They're all $3 to $5 sliding scale. And my Venmo is Cookie Book. And here's Angela.
Hi, I'm Angela, Supertrooper. This is my zine. It's called Supertrooper Omnibus. I've been sitting on this for like 2 years. I live in the Bay Area with that one. And look at, oh my gosh, look at this handmade cover. It's such a deal. You can get it. Look at that. Oh my God, what is that? Xerography? That's
Hold it
so
up for us.
cool.
We'd love to see it.
Look at this. There's some like drawings and like experimental layout. Okay, cool. You should get that on blurb.com. I do like individual zines, but you have to be really cool and underground and find me, because then I'll give them to you. But otherwise, no one will ever find them. There's no Etsy store. Wolfen Books is closed, possibly because our zines are cursed. But I don't know. You have to find out for yourself. Yeah. Okay. Is that it? Vanessa, keep going. Keep going, girl.
You have about 40 more seconds if you want to show and describe some of the illustrations or the covers. Can you describe the cover and how you made it?
Yes, this one, it was drawn by Angela.
There's like 2 naked dudes touching boners. There's like 2 girls on there, and like they're touching butts and boobs because they're twins and they're Geminis.
Yes.
And show the other one. That's like a pretty princess in a window, and there's a guillotine. It's really great.
Nice.
That's actually a picture
All
of
right,
Vanessa.
folks, that's your time. Thank you so much for being here. Glad you could join us. Thanks. Love it. All right. I'm going to pull up the next. All right, go ahead and turn off your video. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. We were trying this lighting.
You got it. All right, next we have Joyce. All right, go ahead and turn off your audio. Next we have Joyce SV. And you can go ahead and share. Joyce.
Hi, it's a hard act to follow, but I'm Joyce. I'm based in Oakland. I use she, her pronouns. Let's see, yeah, I guess my zines are about various things, technology, the body. I don't know, I don't really like going by topic because I tend to cover a lot of different ones. So I actually wanted to maybe talk more about different formats or styles that I've tried. So this is the first zine that I ever did. I made it for SF Zine Fest 2015, and I had a table of just this zine, which was fun. But yeah, effectively, like I used to be a writer, so I would pitch stories and the editors would not pick my stories, and I'd be like, why? And so I just decided to publish them alone. So this zine took a really long time because I was writing and researching everything and making collages and stuff. So what I tried to do the next time around was actually just get more help from other people. So this is a fanzine I made. It's you know, in homage to Wet magazine, which was published by Leonard Cohen in the 70s. And it's a magazine about gourmet bathing. So I just got, you know, friends like photographers and illustrators and writers to share some stuff. I wrote something about loofahs, which is actually like a vegetable, but also the name of the bathing sponge. Anyway, that's another approach that I've tried. Kind of inspired by trying a different approach. It's like just kind of collecting things and then putting the collection in a zine. So this is the first time I tried that. But you know, a lot of times for work, I have to interview people. So I was just trying to figure out how to keep the conversation moving. So I collected all these ways to keep it going, like, aha, capiche, got it, gotcha, guess so, I get it. So these are all just kind of collections of ways to, you know, keep a conversation going, and actually inspired by Amy, who presented earlier. I, you know, have done that in various different formats, like posts on Reddit about your dreams about technology. But this is the most recent version of that style, like the kind of collection zine style. So these are actually, the zine is called Identified, but it's about different interfaces or examples of facial recognition technology in movies. So it starts, you know, in the 60s and then goes like, it's just interesting to kind of see the changes. I think that's from Coneheads. Yeah, so very 90s, early 90s to late 90s. This one's good. Yeah, so you just kind of get to see how the technology changes over time. And then the last format that I'm kind of still getting used to is actually like a workbook style format. So this is about technology, and I made this in collaboration with Xiaowei Wang and Gabriel Ilias when I was in grad school. But effectively, like, you know, a lot of technology, they try to make it like really easy so you don't make any mistakes. But you know, we just try to think about, you know, if technology was a little weirder. So, you know, with the CAPTCHAs, I have to select all the traffic cones or traffic lights. And so we tried like, oh, what if you had to like analyze this painting? Or if your touchscreen actually like had sandpaper on it. So it wasn't so smooth and it was actually really, yeah, hard or uncomfortable. So those are my zine formats. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Some compliments over here. And I have a copy of Splash that I got from you a few years ago. Really love it. Thanks. All right, moving on to Ponyboy Press, and I will share some of their work. So first here is a little more about Ponyboy Press, located in Portland, Oregon. Ponyboy Press makes zines about obsessions and confessions, pop culture, history, and the experience of growing old. Those are all common themes. Inspiration from vintage ephemera from a personal collection is also a big part of the process. And you can find Ponyboy Press on Etsy and donate directly on Venmo and on PayPal. So I'm going to show a handful of videos on their Instagram. So Instagram, Ponyboy Press, all one word. This is from Imaginary Life, number 7.
Hello, I'm Chrissy at Ponyboy Press. I see you've picked up my zine Imaginary Life, number something. Number 7. This is a zine about loss and growing old and losing family and family legacies and ancestral healing, sort of, or wanting that. This uses a bunch of vintage images that I collect and an old vintage wallpaper. It's one of my favorite zines that I've made, and it is $4. That should be available in my Etsy shop. Thanks for looking. Hello.
Awesome.
I'm great.
Next one. Just want to make sure this is the right one. Yeah.
Hello. I see you've picked up Dumping Kerouac. This is a zine I did a couple years ago about my obsession with the Beats and Kerouac in my 20s and 30s, and how I then decided I wasn't interested and gave up on my books, and why. And the process of doing so, which actually was kind of an identity crisis a little bit when I finally realized I wasn't into them anymore. So if you are in love with Kerouac and you don't want to be dissuaded in any way, it may. Why, hello there. I see that you've picked up my zine Paper Crush number 4. You must like vintage images. And this zine is all about collecting vintage postcards, how I got into it, why I like it, what I've learned. I'll give you some information about a local postcard group in Portland. And every zine comes with a free vintage postcard. So which one will you get? Huh? Pretty exciting.
Nice.
Hi. I see you picked up my zine, Paper Crush number 6, an I Love Lucy fanzine. I did this a few years ago, and I bet you think you know about I Love Lucy. Like, it's just kind of a thing in our cultural knowledge. If you grew up in the US, you have this idea of this crazy, over-the-top thing, and honey, I'm home, and wow, Ricky, I want to be on the show, but there's a lot more to I Love Lucy than that. And I think that you will enjoy learning about it, because she was, Lucille Ball was amazing, as was Desi Arnaz. He totally set the bar for TV. I have one of the first TV shows. She was a movie star. People were surprised that she was going to belittle herself enough to be TV, but then it became like a super hot show. So,
all right, I believe that's Ponyboy Press's time. And if you're here and you'd like to say anything, I think we are entirely doing the presentation for you. So thank you so much for sharing those and putting those on your Instagram. To everybody else, I know that the audio was very, very quiet. So please head over to their Instagram at Ponyboy Press to see it for yourself and hear it full volume. Right now, I'm going to move on to the next one. And that'll be on your screen in just a second. All right, next we have Salty Buns Press.
Hi, do I start anytime?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So hi, my name is Kara. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm based in Oakland, California. I'm originally from Honolulu, Hawaii, but I've been here since 2009. And this is my first Zine Fest, so I'm really nervous right now. So I mainly make comics as a form of like cognitive therapy to help deal with my daily anxiety and dealing with ADHD. So I have 3 zines right now. 2 of them are related to mental health and anxiety. So this one's just a compilation of the comics I have posted on Instagram. So like these guys here. And then this little guy was made during the first 2 months of quarantine, just to remind, because I was in such a art rut. So just remind me, like, I don't have to always make art. I can just go back to it when I want to. This one's for free on Gumroad, just so if you need a pick-me-up, you can just read it and make your own zine. The other zine topics I like doing are related to like food and drinks related to my ethnic background. I'm like mixed Asian race, so, and as someone from Hawaii, I have a lot of diaspora involved with that. So I use food and drink to like help fulfill that. So I recently also did a Sochu pocket guide zine. This is Japan's distilled spirit. I originally made it at my last job so I could be taken seriously with customers because I look 18 and I'm not 18. So this one just made like an introduction to Sochu, just so it's not a well-known spirit, and I just thought it had such a rich history to share with people, and also just make it really accessible for anyone that is really interested in spirits and cocktails and whatnot. So it's just a really easy to read guide about brief history, and I also included a couple recipes to enjoy it. But yeah, that's what I have. Thanks for having me.
You still have another minute if you'd like to show us some close-ups of any of your zines.
Yeah, sure.
Or describe anything.
So I self-print everything. So for the Sochu zine, I just hand illustrated, and this was like months of research on this. Let's see. So this one includes the page on, so because Sochu has so many different ingredients, it's so like, say if you're a whiskey drinker, then it's like, oh, get some barley Sochu. They have similar tastes. And if you like rum, try brown sugar, even though now that I've drank more brown sugar Sochu, I don't know if rum's the best thing, but I think it's comparable in mixed drinks. And then also like sake, get some rice Sochu. So I'm hoping my next zine will be probably a sake pocket zine. That's like my next one, because sake is also like a really big research topic that I'm still also learning about. But yeah.
Cool. Someone's asking how to get a copy. Where do you sell your work?
Oh, on my Gumroad. It's Gumroad. I believe it's just a Kansaku. I just have it linked in my Instagram.
Awesome. We just shared it. Thank you so much. That's super cool. And I definitely feel like it's hard to find that deep of information. Thank goodness for zines. All right, moving on to the next person. Last but definitely not least, we have Tanya Brassie, based in Brooklyn.
Hello everyone. Yeah, my name is Tanya Brassie. My pronouns are she, her, yeah, I'm based in Brooklyn. I'm originally from Texas, but I've been living here for almost 6 years now. And I guess Brooklyn and the pollution in it is actually one of the things that inspired me to make my first zine. So I live near this park called Cooper Park, and one day I was just like, who is Cooper? Why is this called Cooper Park? So I decided to do some Googling, and it turns out this guy owned a glue factory by a stream that I live by, which is now like heavily polluted, and it's something called a Superfund site, which is what my very first zine called Toxic Lagoons is all about. So basically there are these sites around the United States, and there's actually a lot of them, more than you would think. And I learned all of this because of Peter Cooper and his pollution. And the facts are just so outrageous that I thought, wow, like I feel like people would be interested in this if there was like a more pleasant way to read it other than like going through the EPA site, which takes forever to load. But yeah, so I guess my goal is to make issues for like all regions of the United States and sort of showcase like some of the most outrageous sites. Here, I'll hold this up again. So this is the Northeastern edition. And basically it just features, well, there's a fun quiz if you want to know, if you want to quiz yourself on your pollution facts. And yeah, and then it just features different sites around the Northeast. And the text is actually pulled directly from the EPA site. As I was reading it, I was like, oh, wow, this is just like so outrageous. It seems best to just like quote it directly rather than even, I don't know, trying to write it. It mentions things like sludge pits and I don't know, all of this outrageous stuff that you would think wouldn't be allowed, but is, or I guess it's technically like not allowed, but you just get a fine and you have to like clean it. But it takes a really long time. And here's my West Coast edition that I started working on. And in this edition is actually my favorite Superfund site that I've found, which is this one called the Hanford Nuclear Reservation, which is in Washington. You should Google it if you don't know about it. It's pretty interesting. There's like gallons of sludge like buried, radioactive sludge like buried in these like leaking tanks underground. So yeah, I guess Toxic Lagoons is like my main series and my main reason for making zines. I also have one called Power Positions for Computing. So in my 9-to-5 life, I'm a software engineer, and it gets, I guess, kind of tedious sometimes. Sometimes it's fun, but so this one's kind of like a play on an educational pamphlet about how you can look successful at your job and have good posture and things like that, because this is me a lot, a workplace loaf. And yeah, so that's that one. And then my other zine is kind of frivolous, but I just wanted to make something fun and not depressing, I guess, after working on the Toxic Lagoon series. So it's just this little zine about like scenes in the desert that I made after I went to New Mexico. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah. I guess
perfect timing. That's your time.
Cool.
Beautiful. Awesome. Everyone's have been awesome. Thank you so much for coming. One of the things that I love about doing Cyberfest this year is that it's so easy for people to come from New York or whatever other region or country that you're coming from. So I'm super glad that we could have you here. And I am about to share my screen again to make sure that you all have each other's info to find each other online. And I know we've gone a little bit over time, so I'm going to speed through the rest of this. You can go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you'd like everybody's Instagram or sorry to Ponyboy, I didn't have your Instagram at the time, but this is how to find everybody. You can also go to sfzinefest.org to find a write-up about every single exhibitor we have as part of Cyberfest. That's 150 different zine makers or collectives. And also you can go to our website to buy merch for the festival. Our guests of honor each designed a poster and a sticker, so you can go there to buy those. And just today we revealed the sticker and poster made by Death Peace Sun. So go check those out on our website. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for all coming and exhibiting your zines. Thanks to everybody who tuned into the live stream. And please join us for the rest of the show and tell so that you can continue networking with other zine makers around the world. And I'm just so happy that you all were able to come together for today.